Good. Okay, welcome. We are now in our third month of our run to executive, and I just wanted to start by saying that I am so proud of each and every one of you. You could each, when looking around the room, you could each write a book about what has gone on in the first 2 months of the run to executive. And, you just, there's just different things that you've overcome, that you've worked through, the highs, the lows, and all of that. And now you're hit with an amazing sale for 2 weeks. And I just think that you need to give yourselves a huge pat on the back for what you've done so far. We've had Alex, actually isn't on, but Alex advanced to manager. We've had Nicole go to director. So there's just so much happening, but each and every one of you has, smashed out another consultant or whatever it is, or been enrolling strongly. It's just, you really have put every little bit of effort into this. However, I believe that the best is yet to come. I really believe that this next 4 weeks is going to be amazing. And it's funny that it's the 1st of November today for this call, and we're finishing on the 30th. So seriously, you have 1 month to go, and I'm curious and excited about what's going to happen in the next month. So before I introduce you to Jen, I would love to just get each of you, and you're going to have to do this really quickly. And as we said at the beginning of this, leaders go first. So, unmute and you can, fight over who speaks first, speaks the loudest. But I'd just love you to introduce yourselves because, I was thinking about this on my run this morning, thinking, Jen doesn't know these guys, or she knows some of you, doesn't know all of you, but just very quickly, whatever you want to say. So, Raquel, I can see you're already unmuted and you're in my top left. So, go.
This is a problem for me. So here's what you might want to know. I say yes before I have any details. So I unmuted straight away, Heather, and that's probably all you need to know about me for now.
Awesome. Who's next?
If you like.
Rachel.
So, Jen, I've seen you speak a couple of times and it's amazing. So I'm really excited to be here. I've been in Isogenics for 6 years. I got to executive in 2 months when I first started. And then I was on cruising mode for 5 years and wasn't even really building the business, but I've come back in the last 12 months and decided to get back up there.
Oh, so good.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Rach.
You too.
Hey, Jen.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got Nicole. Nicole, top right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Nicole. I've only been with Isogenics for about 18 months. So excited to start building and a little bit more consistently now. And I've hit director once, but keen to get to executive.
Super.
I'll go. Hey, Jen, it's Belinda McGowan. I'm in Perth. I've been with Isogenics for over 5 years now. I'm maintaining executive, which I love, which was always a struggle for me. But since May, I've been able to maintain that, which has been really, especially seeing the income grow from doing that, which is great. I'm in this group to support other leaders coming through and grow depth within my business. And I'm excited for the call today.
Oh, so good, Belinda.
Who's next? Nicole up top. Oh, Sinead. Go. No, Sinead, you go.
Hi, Jen. I'm Sinead. I've been in the Isogenics business for probably since the start of the year with Belinda. I had done it previously, but I had stopped that and I got back in with Belinda. But I've watched you. I think you were one of the first people I heard speaking, and it was very inspiring. So I'm excited to listen to the call today.
Oh, I'd be happy if you just keep talking so I can listen to your accent.
Did you understand everything I said?
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I love it. Jen spent some time over in Ireland recently, didn't you, Jen?
Yeah, I did. Actually,
Ah,
3 or 4 months I spent in Ireland. Absolutely love
oh
it.
wow,
It was,
cool.
and
I was
listening
just
to
there with
Irish.
the school holidays for the school holidays as well. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Beautiful. Okay, who's left? Nicole. Top Nicole.
Hey, I'm Nicole as well, and I feel like the new kid on the block. I've been building with Isogenics since July. Only been with Isogenics as a customer since about March this year. So it's all new to me, and so I'm being a sponge, and I'm soaking everything up. So I'm really looking forward to this call, Jen. And yeah, thanks for being here for us.
Oh, so good.
Hey guys, I am Janine. I'm in Victoria. Jen, I've heard you speak 3 times this year so far. And
Yay! You're at the
yeah,
Gold Coast with
yeah,
with Rach.
with
Yep.
Raquel. With Raquel, yeah.
Oh, with Raquel, that's right.
Yeah.
And Rach was at the you were at the Gold Coast too, Rach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been around for a little while. I've played hard and I got to manager last year and then everything kind of fell apart. And I've been one of those people, and I think you might have said this somewhere in one of those spiels that you did, to not be the most, oh, I'm going to butcher it now and I can't even remember it, but to the one that consumes all the things and takes it all in and does all the personal development and is the most educated, inactive in the room. And so my idea of being in this group specifically was to take all of that and shift it around and actually take the actions. And that's been really challenging for me in this esteemed group. But also it's been really beautiful. And I'm probably only just starting to feel some of that coming alive for me. So that's where I am. Thank you.
Yeah, so good.
I love it. Christy.
Hi everyone. So I'm Christy I'm over in Perth. I've been using the Isogenics products for about almost 3 years now, but and I've kind of tried to do the business side. This is probably my third time doing it, but this time I think the timing's right. So everything is actually like moving and working for me this time. In saying that, I am putting heaps more effort and being more intentional with it this time as well. So I am seeing some results. So I'm on my way to manager. So hopefully I'll do that this month. Yeah, that's my goal. But yeah, nice to meet you, and thanks Heather for organizing all of this and organizing all these amazing speakers on our calls. It's been awesome. So thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. Emma, did you want to just say a quick hello?
Well, hi everybody. Great to hear all your voices and see all your beautiful faces. I'm excited for today. I think I've met most of you now, but I think I'm coming up to now my 2.5 months at Isogenics Corporate. So I still feel like I'm so new and got so much to learn, but I feel like another part of me feels like I've been here for a long time. So it's great. And I'm still loving the products. I'm doing another reset. So really enjoying everything. So thanks for having me on today. Looking forward to learning from you, Jen.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get going. I'm not going to do a big introduction for Jen because many of you know her, but what I am going to say is that Jen and Jono obviously are legacy members, millionaires within the Isogenic system. But the biggest thing about Jen and Jono is their authenticity. They are the people who I admire. When people say who's a leader that you want to be like or you want to, follow in their steps, it's Jen for me. I just absolutely see that they are people who do this for all the right reasons. Everything I watch them do, from how they handled the challenging last few years, the way they bring up their children, the way Jen leads the team, the way she will jump onto something like this, and the way they've grown their business. And it's one of the things that's indicative and shows the way they've grown their business is the leaders that they have within their business are absolutely outstanding leaders. So I do believe that all comes from the top as to how you work with people is the kind of leaders that you develop and the people that you are. So one of my most beautiful memories of Jen and Jono is when we went to their home and sat on their balcony on a Sunday afternoon in the sun for about 4 hours, seriously, didn't we? Just talking, and they just poured belief and ideas and knowledge and everything into us. So I love doing this. I love working with Jen on a call like this. So I've written a million questions here, and here we go. But I'm actually going to challenge her to start, because I remembered, again, on my run this morning, I remembered one of David Wood's podcasts that he did, and he did this with a few people, and he started by saying, and I've got the timer here, 2 questions, and you've got 1 minute for each. And so the first question is, why network marketing? And I've got my little timer here. So why network marketing? And the next question is obviously going to be, why Isagenix? So are you up for the challenge, Jen?
Wow, Heather, straight up. Don't start the timer yet, because I just want to say, just to start, I just want to say thank you all for being here. Because my favorite thing is just to gather a group of women together and, talk it through and to talk about the real stuff, because let's not pretend that life is just easy all the time. And I think so often in the world that we live in, we just see so many of the highlight reels. And it makes it even harder, right? Because we know it's not all highlights. But what we also know is that there's no one better than supporting each other through challenges than women. And we have each other's backs. And so when we gather like this, and I'm so grateful, Heather, that you asked everyone to say hello first, because really, I think in a space like this, I mean, I've been around Isagenix for 13 years, and it's easy to put people up on a pedestal, but I'm no different to all of you. I'm really not. I'm just have been around a little bit longer, right? That's, it's that simple. And I've made all of the mistakes. I've been through all of the challenges. I've had all the wall kicking moments. I'm sure they're not over. That's what business is, and that's what life is. And if we're willing just to come together and talk it through and just accept that we're going to have days where we win and we're going to have days that we just feel like we didn't go anywhere, then we stay around. And it makes me sad when people don't feel supported and then they leave, because we have so much support in this community. We really do. There are so many beautiful people who are so willing to hold your hand, give you a hug, and even give you a little slap when you need it, right? Like a kick up the butt. Like we all need all of the above. So I just want to say thank you for being here and for giving up your time, because it really, there's so many cliches in network marketing and that they kind of get a bit annoying sometimes. But one of them is about just, what do they say? 80% is showing up. But it really is true, because it's when we stop showing up, we think, oh, I don't have time for that, or I already know that, or whatever, then we don't stay plugged in. And environment really is the most powerful thing. And if we're not keeping on making sure we tap into the right environment, that's when it really becomes a struggle that can sometimes be we're unable to overcome. But if we plug into the right environment consistently, there's no struggle that we can't overcome. So thank you all for being here. Okay, Heather, back to the questions. Why network marketing?
So why network marketing? 1 minute. Why network marketing?
Okay, so I think anyone who knows business knows that business is a lot. It's a big responsibility to bear. There's a lot of pieces in the puzzle. And I don't really look at network marketing as network marketing, but I look at it as a collaborative business partnership where Isagenix does 8. So let's say there's 10 major activities that need to be done in order to deliver a product to a customer. Isagenix does 8 out of 10, and we only have to do 2 out of 10. And we get paid 20% or more for doing that 2 out of 10. And it takes away all of the big responsibility that comes with full business ownership. And I think that's pretty unique, and it just creates an incredible opportunity, especially for people who haven't yet mastered all the skills needed in business.
Wow. That's
Was
it.
that under 60
That is
seconds?
1 minute. How cool is that?
You used it up every last second.
Okay. And why Isagenix?
Okay, so the world is unhealthy, and Isagenix packages up everything that we need to completely change our health and creates a model that we can create health change and spread it like wildfire. So instead of helping one person, one health practitioner, helping one person at a time, we're just never going to get there doing it that slowly. The business model of Isagenix, we've got the products that solve the problems. We can help people be healthier, but we can spread it like wildfire. And that's the only way we're going to change the health of the world.
Oh, wow. You've even got 16 seconds left. Woohoo! Well done. Oh, that is awesome.
I love your summaries over there, Raquel. So awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so thank you for that. That was a great way to start, and I so agree with women coming together and how powerful we are and how we support each other. So we have an incredible sale right now. And these guys, as you know, are on a run to executive. So a run to executive is about creating consultants. And so I thought we could start with, okay, what advice would you give people to utilize the next 2 weeks to create consultants? And I'll just let you go from there because I know it'll just keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what I tend to always do is first of all zoom out, because the sale and getting to executive, that's kind of like the mechanical part when we're right in the middle of it. But the big question is why? Like, why do we want to be executive? Like, who cares? It's just a word, right? That starts with E. And people, I see a lot of people get hung up on it, and it feels so out of reach, or it's like, I don't feel like I'm good enough if I'm not executive and all of that sort of stuff. But let's have a think about the real reason we want to get to executive. And what it means is we're starting that wildfire, which means we're really having impact in the world, and we're learning the skills that we need to create the wildfire of health change in the world. And when I say health change, I mean health as a very holistic concept, including financial health, because obviously if we're financially stressed, we can't be healthy. So executive, Jim, when he designed the comp plan, he was just so clever, because he said, well, he said, I know most people are going to come in as customers just wanting to change their health, and they don't really know anything about business. And so what I need to do is teach them the skills, show them the way to the skills that will grow their business. So he knew there's only 2 things we need to do: find new customers and teach people to find new customers, right? So why go executive? Because we're just practicing the skills, the only 2 skills that really matter, which is finding new customers and teaching people to find new customers. So they're just a reflection for us. They're not, it just doesn't, it's not a thing to get hung up on, right? Not to get hung up on the recognition. It's just like, if I'm not paid as executive, it just means I've got to work on some skills. It's just a little bit of feedback to us to say, hey, focus, zone in. The people who win in anything in life are the people who can stay focused on the right things. It's that simple. We live in a world that is trying to distract us so much all the time. There's so much noise. And that's why they put the blinkers on the racehorse, right, at the racetrack, so that they can just stay in their lane. And success in anything, including Isogenics, is choosing your lane, knowing what you need to do, and then focusing on it, even when it feels hard, even when it feels challenging. And I think if we are getting to executive for the bonus or getting to executive for the recognition, that it's not enough on the inside, right? It's a bit of a superficial kind of thing to chase. But what if we're getting to executive because it's a sign that we're on the path of developing the skill set that's going to lead us to creating whatever amount of success we want from this business? What if we change it to that? And then it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if we take a little bit longer. It doesn't matter if we do it straight up. Some people come in with a network and the skill set and they go, oh my gosh, they go executive. And other people come in and go, oh, it feels so hard. Why am I stuck here? I feel like, why am I not executive? And they start beating up on themselves. It's okay. We all were a baby once who didn't know how to walk. And we all had to, when we first got on it, like not one of us ever looked at a push bike and said, don't worry about the trainer wheels, Dad, let me go. Like, we were all like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And hold on, don't let me go. And we wobbled and we remember how scared we were the day that, our parents took the trainer wheels off the bike. And we got to remember this and stop being so hard on ourselves. But at the same time, we've got to know if we don't focus on something and practice, then we can't get better at it. And I always get entertained by humans and how we are and how we think, because I think here we are, we want to do this thing, but then we don't do any practice, and then we beat up on ourselves because when we didn't reach the thing. But it's like, why do we do that to ourselves, right? We just got to be a little bit more realistic sometimes and just make a decision. Like it's going to take a certain number of conversations to get good at the conversations in terms of finding new customers. And it's going to take a certain number of conversations to get good at the conversations in terms of helping customers find customers. We can either do it in 2 months, or we can do it in 2 years, or we can do it in 20 years. That's up to us. It's going to take the number of repetitions it's going to take. Nothing's going to change that. Like when some magical sprinkles are not going to land on us and suddenly make us have the skills. We just got to go and stuff it up and go, oh, that didn't feel good. Oh, that totally didn't work. Oh, that was an interesting reaction. Wow. And then we go, oh, that worked. Why did that work? That's cool. I might do that again. And that's just the process, just like learning to ride the bike. So that's what I would say, is always be thinking about, where am I feeling resistance in this process? And some of you are going to go, oh my gosh, there's a target, let's go. And that's your personality. Executive, if that's what they say, awesome, I'll just get it done. Others of you are going to go, oh my gosh, there's a target, and you're going to feel instant resistance because you have some stuff around setting goals and worrying that you might not achieve them. And so wherever the resistance is, we need to find it, because that's our sign, not to run away from it, but that's our sign to know where we need to spend the time and do a little bit of work. So, and today maybe we can explore like where that resistance is coming up for different people in different parts of the process. So some of us have resistance to reaching out to someone. Some of us have resistance to talking about the money. Some of us actually have a whole lot of baggage around money and actually think that people who have money are greedy assholes deep down inside. And, so we're like, I think I want more money, but I don't want to be a person who has more money. It's like that creates a whole lot of conflict, right? And we wonder why money doesn't come to us, because we've got two stories going out at the same time. So we need to work on that. Some of us think, oh gosh, I don't want to sell. I hate selling. I don't want to be a, skanky salesperson. And we need to reframe that and what that means. like me, I was like, I had stuff around network marketing because my mum and dad had these friends who were in the company that sells washing powder. And so my dad's really social and my mum's not that social. So dad would he's always inviting people over. And mum would say, Trevor, do you have to invite them over again? He's like, yeah, just chuck a chook in the oven and we'll, have dinner. And she would be like, they always try and make me buy their washing powder and I don't want to buy their washing powder. And so I would be like, I don't want to be I don't want to be one of those pushy people that goes to their friends' houses and tries to sell stuff. Like it's for people who can't get real jobs. And that's all I knew about network marketing, but that was enough for me to know I didn't want to be a network marketer. And even now, like I have some resistance around, I see behaviors on social media and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be a network marketer because I don't want to be associated with those behaviors. So I don't be, right? It doesn't mean I can't earn $1 million a year in a network marketing business model, but I get to choose how I show up. And so the point is we got to find our resistance, because if I just try to ignore that resistance and pretend it wasn't there, I would just find myself procrastinating, getting overwhelmed, sabotaging, doing all of the things to avoid doing the things that I need to do to build my business. Whereas if I face the resistance, figure it out, work out the way around it or over it, then we keep moving forward. Okay, Heather, what's next?
Sorry, I just quickly muted myself because of this conversation. Is there anybody who would like to just share a resistance? I did put in the chat here, pop in the chat what is your resistance?
They can be hard to find. But this is a great time to talk through. We might find a couple of examples that are common. I know I mentioned a few that were true for me. Do you feel, in terms of getting to executive, what do you feel like you know what I mean when I say resistance? You just feel that feeling? Yeah. What do you think? What comes up?
Well, for me, I may as well talk. I think that I do want to I've been there once, right? And for me, it was a super stressful time in my life. And because I did it so quickly as well. And I kind of burnt out.
Sorry, Rach, was it stressful because of getting to executive, or was there other stuff in your life at the time that was stressful? Just to clarify.
Was other stuff going on, like really stressful court cases and divorces and other things as well. And I was trying to do this and dealing with everyone else's issues. And I was just like, my head just exploded and I went, I can't do this right now. I think I've got a bit of hang up from that still, that feeling of I don't want to be stressed because it was a really bad time in my life. So now I'm doing things just in a slow, consistent way. So I know I'm going to get back to executive, but I want to do it in my own time and what works for me personally, so I don't reach that overload stage.
Mm-hmm. So your resistance, would you say, is towards that feeling of overwhelm and, oh my gosh, there's too much going on, and you don't want to feel your cortisol levels coming up to here, and it takes the joy out of it for you?
Yeah, 100%. So I want to really enjoy the process, and I am enjoying it now. I really am, because I'm just looking at my month-by-month growth, which is really high, and that's what I'm focusing on, my cycles and my growth and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, building the skills to get back to executive and just doing it in a way that's holistic and it feels good and it resonates with me. And then I know that I'll be able to stay and maintain.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's so much wisdom in that, because sometimes we got to keep going back to the why we want to do this, right? Like the deeper reason why. And sometimes it is easy to get caught in the thing or the numbers. And the numbers are the shallow thing that they're not what gets us out of bed. Same as money. Money doesn't get people out of bed it's what the money can do that will get us out of bed to do the things. And in business, any business, not just Isagenix, there will always be things we have to do that we don't want to do. We don't want to do them because they're boring and repetitive, or we don't want to do them because we're unskilled at them and we don't feel competent yet. And when we don't feel competent, that feels challenging always.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that, yeah, there's so much wisdom for you to go, you know what, if I'm going to do this, this is how I need to do it. And this is why I need to do it, and be really calm and centered in that. And then what you don't get to do though, is then look over here at Susie and go see Susie going executive in 3 months and then beat up on yourself, right? Because you got to remember that you made a choice to go at your pace. And you got to remember to bring yourself back to the centeredness of your choice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this is the beautiful thing about this business model, is we all get to do it in our way.
Yeah.
In saying that, it's important that we understand that in building business, we need a certain level of activity. Otherwise, and you would know, and I think some of you have been around long enough to know, when you have just a really low level of activity, because every single business we bring on customers, and we don't retain 100% of customers. No business on the planet does, right? And so we need to be bringing customers into our business faster than they're deciding to go try some other things or whatever.
Yeah.
We have to figure out what that level of activity is. Otherwise, we can't see growth. So if we're seeing our business decline, it means kind of like customers are stopping and going, trying other things, which all customers will do. That's just normal customer behavior. But that's happening faster than we're bringing customers in. So we have to make some alterations. But that's just all feedback, which we can get.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thanks, Jen. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that, Jen. And I've just asked Sinead, and I'm not sure because whether she's in a position that she can unmute, but if she can unmute, it would be really lovely. She put in the chat, I'm really resonating with resistance. So if she can unmute Sinead. If you can't, I totally understand. It's early. Oh, yes, she can. Okay, go.
I'm just getting the kids breakfast, so so it might be a bit noisy. But yeah, definitely resonating with resisting against it. I don't know why, but when you said that, I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm like I feel like I'm pulling myself back. Like when I was so excited when the Run to Executive came up, because it's like I feel like I really wanted, but then it's just I feel like everything's getting in my way, and I'm pulling I'm probably letting things get in my way. I don't know. But yeah, that's where when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's probably what I'm doing.
So this is it's so awesome to be able to talk about this, because if we don't figure out the resistance, then it will always feel like we're just pushing a wheelbarrow full of cement up a hill.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to feel like that, but we're all going to have a different resistance. And we can have layers of resistance, right? And it's just all normal. I mean, there's nothing better than business to help us pull apart all of our stuff, because it brings it all up and it brings it all out, and it shows us what we need to work on. But I'll tell you a little analogy that when I learned it, it just really helped me when I started to feel like the best part about you working through your own resistance, discovering it and then working through it, is you're gonna have a team of people, a group of people that you work with, and they're gonna have all the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, someone's trying to call and I can't turn it off at all. Sorry if you can hear that. So I'll tell you this little analogy. So imagine we set a goal, like I'm going to get to executive by the end of November. And so we're like a little ant that's like running towards the goal. The goal's the North Star. We're so excited. Here we go. And this is like people every New Year's, right? They set their New Year's resolution, right? Let's go. And then running. And then we realize, like, we look around and we go, I'm just not getting where I want to go. Like, what's happening? I feel like I keep tapping in, tapping out, kind of sabotaging, doing all of this stuff, procrastinating, getting overwhelmed, not getting things done. All of that stuff happens. Stuff gets in the way. Drama enters my life. whatever's happening is like little ant not getting closer to the goal. And we look down and we realize that we're running along this leathery gray surface. And we look down a bit further and we realize it's an elephant. And we realize we're running along the back of an elephant, but the elephant's walking south. The elephant's walking in the opposite direction, right? So what's happening is our ant is our conscious brain, our conscious mind, which is 15%. And the elephant is our subconscious mind, which is 85%, our unconscious mind, all of these beliefs, right? And our elephant has, like, imagine a filing cabinet full of programs. Our elephant has all of that in, and our elephant's going according to the direction of that programming. And here we've told the ant something different, and the ant's trying his little heart out to go. But until we bring the elephant on board and tell the elephant what the goals are, and take out some of those programs that are sending the elephant south and replace them with some programs to send the elephant north, then we can't start moving towards our goals.
Yeah.
And when we turn the elephant around and the elephant's walking in the same direction as the ant, it feels like, you know, when you're at the airport and you in a rush to get to the plane, and then you get on the travelator, and then you feel like you're walking along, and it's just like you're kind of walking so fast. Yeah. And it feels so easy. That's what it should feel like. Like when you learn this stuff and you learn how to figure out what your resistance is and do some reprogramming, then you turn the elephant around and it starts to feel like ease and flow to get towards your goals. And what you'll start to find is the universe, God, source, starts to help you, because until you turn the elephant around, the ant's giving one instruction to the world, and the elephant's giving another opposite instruction to the world. So how does the world know what to give you back? But once you start giving the subconscious mind and the conscious mind starts giving the same instruction, guess what the world starts giving us back? What we want. Absolutely, every single time. And it's so powerful. And if we can learn to figure out what the heck's going on in this bloody elephant and turn him around, get him on the same path as the ant, it's just the most incredibly powerful thing.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah. And like, do you think self-development is the best way to turn your elephant around?
Yeah, you've got to, spending time in spaces where you can have the safety to explore the resistance, I think, is really important. And so you want to make sure, like, you want to hang out in a space like this where it's okay to say, I just hate sales. And you guys are trying to tell me to go and sell, and I don't like sales. It's like, okay, sales is just a word, right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what sales really means. Let's explore what's coming around the word sales, because I could guarantee if anyone's feeling, because I was like that. I'm like, I don't want to sell. I hate selling. I do not want to be a salesperson. And I had to do a lot of work around that word and what I was making that word mean, which is me pulling out the I hate sales program from my elephant and putting in a new program that says I love sales, because sales means I'm helping people solve their problems. I love sales because every business needs sales for the business to be profitable. And the only way to create wealth is to get on the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant and be a business owner. To be an employee or self-employed, I'm on the left-hand side of the quadrant, and I'm in with 95% of people sharing 5% of the wealth. If I want to be 5% of the people sharing 95% of the wealth in the world, I have to be a business owner and or an investor on the right-hand side of the quadrant. That means I have to figure out how to love sales, because no business can exist without sales. So I'm like, right, let's have another think about sales and what am I making sales mean, and what could I make sales mean that would allow me to see it differently, more importantly, to truly feel differently about sales. So when I go into a sales process, I'm leaning in, I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling really satisfied and rewarded from doing it, instead of just feeling this resistance and feeling like someone's kicking me over here, trying to make me go and have 20 conversations. I commit to having sending 20 messages this week, but I've got this resistance about sales. It's just making me feel like crap. And it's like, let's remove the resistance. Let's lean into it. Let's learn to love it. And it might take more than this one conversation, right, to change how we feel about sales, but it's an example of something that we might need to dig up, throw around, and reprogram our elephant with. Actually,
wow.
There's a
I
few,
love
Heather,
that.
we could probably, while we're on this topic, because I know there's a couple of things you mentioned, Heather, that are really just programs in the elephant, like money is another one. I mean, and money is a big topic. We could probably do a whole 4-hour session on money. But the other one is self-belief. Self-belief is one, right, where I hear so many women say, yeah, I believe in network marketing. I believe in Isagenix. I believe in the products, but I just don't believe I can. And that's a resistance, right? And if we want to keep playing that story over and over, what are we going to get? We won't believe we can, because no one's going to come along, sprinkle the magic fairy dust, and suddenly it's full of believe I can. It's a sign that there's resistance, and we got to work on that. So what are we making that mean? And so who feels, just type in the chat if you feel like, yeah, I get it, but I don't know. I don't believe I can. I mean, I think everyone goes through that at some point. Just pop in a yes in the chat if self-belief is maybe some resistance that you feel. You're just not sure if you can do this. Yeah.
And I think I just want to jump in there and say at what level, because you might have self-belief in getting to a certain level. So for me, I put a yes in there because there's that reaching, the next level of like millionaire. And I'm like, fuck, it's like here. And I talked to Jen Jeffries about this yesterday. And so, yeah, I just want to point out to people, it's different levels. We have different levels of our self-belief.
Yeah, Heather, absolutely. And we all do, right? So what do you all believe that you can get to $1 million a year with Isagenix? Do you believe that? Right, Raquel, do 100%? No, 100K a year? What do you mean?
I absolutely know that I will be able to get to millionaire, and I have a deadline for it, and I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, not millionaire, because anyone can. If you hang around long enough, you're going to get to millionaire, right?
Sorry, I thought that's what you said. What did you say?
I know, $1 million a year.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I do believe it,
100%.
but it's taken a long time for me to get to that point of belief. And
Yep.
it's taken a different level of development for me to get to that level of belief.
Yeah. So, what's going to change for you to get there? What do you think is going to change for you to get there?
I am working on changing what I am producing for people. I'm working on changing the way I'm showing up for people and who I'll be attracting. And so I've been working on changing the ant and the elephant, get them going in the same direction, changing beliefs,
nice.
Putting new beliefs into that system, reprogramming.
Yeah, awesome.
I now have structures in place in my day that are feeding that turnaround. So the ant and the elephant are going in the same direction.
Yeah.
And I know if I keep them going in the same direction, it's inevitable what will happen.
Yep, so, for sure.
I have 100% belief because I know I can get them going in the right direction.
Yep. So, and this goes back to why do you need to get to executive really? Because when you get to executive, guess what you can do then? you can show someone else how to get to executive. Wouldn't you agree it's pretty much impossible to show someone how to get to executive unless you've done it yourself? Yeah. And here's what I know. To get to the fastest way you're going to get to $1 million a year is to create 10 executives. Yeah. So here we're talking about creating 10 consultants. But really, if we want to create sustainable depth in our business, this is just the starting point, right? And this is why Jim was so clever, because he goes, we just need to teach people to find new customers and teach them, and then teach them how to find new customers. So we need a finding customer skill, a sales skill, but we need a teaching skill as well. That's the two parts that we need in this particular business. Every business has its own skills. Sorry. It'll be fine, darling. Is it a tear?
No, it's like staying. Stop.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, it's still there.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, wear black ones. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. We never do Halloween in Australia, and it's Halloween, and so the kids are dressing up as 3 blind mice and going up and down the street. So got to check the mouse outfit. Sorry. Back to getting to executive. So to create depth, we want to go executive, but we can't just, I think if I count back how many consultants I've created, I think it would be over 100. Right? So you can't just stop at 10, right? Because humans are humans. 95% of people quit everything they do. And I'm not going to change that statistic. You're not probably going to be the first person in the world to change that statistic. We just get to decide if we want to be a 5%er or a 95%er. I want to be a 5%er. And that's why, Raquel, I love that you're working on you, because you're working on what do you need to change about you so you can be a 5%er and be the person who shows up as a 5%er, who thinks like a 5%er, who behaves like a 5%er. And then you're right, you attract other 5%ers. So why do we want to be a 5%er? There's so many reasons, but one of them is we get on the right-hand side of the quadrant where 5% of people share 95% of the wealth. The other one is 95% of people at age 65 are dead or dead broke. When I learned that statistic, I was just like, I don't want to be a 95%er. And that's when I started to go, whatever 95% of people do, I'm going to do the opposite. Because why would you want to, if we follow them, we're going to end up dead or dead broke at the age of 65. And this is, again, why Isogenics, because we solve all of the problems. Because people are dead at age 65 because they're unhealthy. They're dead broke because they never figured out how to get on the right-hand side of the quadrant. And Isogenics offers the opportunity for both at the same time. I don't know anything else out there that does that, right? And so on the days that we're feeling like, I don't know if I want to do this is too hard, oh my gosh, I'm not getting anywhere, I just don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to. They're the days we have to remember, well, what else? What else are we going to do such that we're not a 95%er? What is easier? What is better? Because as sure as heck, if we're not going to show up and do the things we need to do in Isogenics, we better have another plan. Otherwise, we fall back in the trap of being like everyone else, which is not the fun way to live. It's so much fun earning a couple of $1 million a year. It's just like, there's a whole another way.
Dan, I want that. I want that.
and we can all have it, right? And we have everything we need here. We have the biggest problem in the world, which is unhealthy people. There's no bigger problem. Wouldn't you all agree? Tell me what's a bigger problem. I mean, apart from World War III is probably about to break out and all that crap, but we can't control that stuff, right? So we have the biggest problem in the world. And we have the solution. There is no better solution. There's a lot of noise about it, but there's no one else packaging up a simple solution that addresses all the facets that people need to change their health. There is nothing. And so the only question is, well, is then what are we going to do about it? And are we going to be willing to throw ourselves into it consistently enough for long enough to master the skills so that we can create whatever it is, whether it's 6 figures a year or 7 figures a year. But you know what I think is, if you're going to get out of bed in the morning, you might as well make it worth getting out for, right? Set some really exciting goals. Let's do another little experiment. Just type in the chat, no judgment, no right, no wrong, no good, no bad. No looking at someone else's answer first, right? How long, and this could be with Isagenix or otherwise, but how long is it going to take you to make your next $1 million? Just type it in the chat. Quick, first thing that comes to your mind, time frame, how long? Just in it goes. Janine. What's that face for, Janine?
That was the first thing, and I'm like, what? I don't even know.
Yeah, right. That's what we got to change, right? Because we got to know, we got to have a plan. Because if we don't set the GPS, where are we going to end up in the car? Where's the car going to go if we don't set the GPS? Like if you, so see those different answers, and they're all right and they're all wrong, right? You get that? They're all right and they're all wrong, because there is no absolute truth about how long it takes to make $1 million. It's how long we decide. It's how long we believe it will take. So for me, with Isagenix as the vehicle, it took 2 years to get to $1 million a year. So it can be that fast if you want it to be that fast. Or you can decide it's going to take 10 years, up to you. And so this again comes the resistance. Like, some of you will have in your imagination how much work it must take to get to $1 million a year. Like you will have like, oh my gosh, it must be so much work, right? Guess what? I only have the same number of hours in the day as you.
I straight away went, Jen, if Jen did it in 2 years, there's no way I could do that. Straight away, that just monkey thought went straight up.
Yeah, these are the monkey thoughts that we have to talk about, right? Yeah. And so why, Janine, what pops up, like, as to why?
I don't know, you're special. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet in all of the ways. I'm not there
Yeah.
yet with my skills. I'm not there yet with my body transformation. I'm not there yet with everything.
Yeah.
Straight away it comes. This has been like phenomenal. So like Heather just put, most powerful call so far. It's really, really relevant for me for where I'm at now. So thank you for coming in. Just all the stories, all the resistance. And I know this stuff. I know this. I've done this. I've seen it. It's come up before. I just need to get out of my head and do it. Why do we do that? Why do we hold it back? All the money stories, the selling
Beautiful
stories,
question.
the validation stories, the esteem stories. I've gone from a paramedic to doing this. One of the first things my mum said to me when I told her I'm not going back to work as a paramedic, she said, oh, I'm just sorry I won't be able to tell everybody that you're a paramedic anymore, or something like that. And I was like, what? Gutted. So these little things, which I know where she's coming from. I get it, the generation, all of that. It still sticks a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And it just means more digging, right? Though, more digging until we can find a way to unstick it. Because if we let it stick, it's going to stick. And here's the question. So whenever you find the story, and it's so good that you've been able to identify some of those stories, and there will be more. Like they're everywhere. They're like, we're like an onion, right? It's just like, am I ever going to get to the core of this onion? Like they're just there. But here's the question you need to ask when you find a story is, how is that story serving me by holding on to it? Because we're choosing to hold on to it, right? We're choosing the story. Like no one else is choosing the story. We might, yes, we might have heard it sometime in our past, but we're the one choosing it. Like your stories are different to my stories. My stories are different to Emma's stories. Like all of our stories are different, but we choose our stories. Do you agree? No one else can choose our stories. Only we can choose our stories. Okay, so why, and we wouldn't choose them and hold on to them so tightly if it wasn't serving us. So let's find the answer to this question. How is it serving us to hold on to these stories?
Because then I don't have to change. I can
Because
sit
what,
back
and
and
what happens if you don't,
comfortable.
yeah, what happens if you don't have to change? You stay safe.
Mm.
Yeah, you stay safe. And even though it might suck, and even though you might be in a soul-sucking job, and even though you might never have enough money, and even though you might not ever make the choices that you really want to make, because every single choice you make is dependent on how much money is in the bank account. And even though you might fight with your partner because there's just never enough, it's still safe. And even though you know deep down inside that you are not living your potential and you are not living the life that you were born to live, and there is so much else out there, but you're not accessing it, it's safe. And when we realize that we're choosing safety, boring, suffocating, soul depleting safety over life, then we give ourselves permission to give up the stories. And then the resistance falls away. And then we can just step in and do all the beautiful things and go and help all the people that we need to help, because they're waiting for us to step out of our cave of safety. And it doesn't mean go be an idiot on social media. And no, you get to do you. It means getting to know who you are and what's important to you and standing in your truth so firmly and so clearly that you just have this aura of peace and calm, and other people just want to step into your space and they just want to say to you, show me how. And then all the other stuff, all the cool stuff like money, it just comes with that.
Wow, this is so powerful, Jen. And as you said before, we could keep talking for so long. And I just looked at the clock and saw the time and thought, holy crap, I don't want to let you go. I want to hang on to you for longer. I do have one question, which is that, and I would want everybody to listen to this call at whatever level they are at, whether they're just coming into the business, whether they're not even joined, whether they're just looking at the products, because it just shows so much more than those first steps. But how do you take this to someone who's coming to you for the first time, who's coming to you because they're curious about your products, or how do you take this to help you enroll and develop consultants? Because one thing I didn't say in the first introduction to you is not only are you $1 million a year earner, but you are in the team builder bonus in the top 10, which shows that you're still out there doing the do in the trenches, same as everybody else. So yeah, how do you take this to people to help enroll and create consultants?
Well, that's easy to answer because it's just it's finding out about them. Like every person I've ever met wants to change something about their health. Every single person, even like someone who looks like a supermodel, right? Like I was actually in a house last night with a model, and she's gorgeous. Like you would look at her like, oh my gosh. But you know, we got chatting and she was telling me she's just been getting like low blood, like getting really feeling like she's going to pass out and stuff. And we got chatting about this and that. And like everyone, it doesn't matter. Everyone wants to, Heather, you might want to run faster, right? Like everyone at some point wants to change their health. And I don't know many people. There are some, but most people want to change their financial situation. And if it's not that they want to earn more money, they might have lots of money, but most people have lots of money, don't have any time. A lot of people, unless they're in network marketing, where we get money and time. So it's just asking people, what do you want? What do you need? And what's shifted over the last 5 years? I think there's been a blanket of, there's been some sort of blanket thrown over people in the last 5 years. And so the challenge is to get them to think again in terms of changing their life for the better. The challenge is to remind them that they can change their health, that they can change their financial future. Like I'm finding so many people, I say, hey, if you had $10 million, tell me how you'd spend it. Tell me what you'd do with it. They just draw a blank completely. They cannot even answer. I'm like, what the heck? Because they just never thought that they could ever have 10. So why think about it? You know, I'm thinking about my plans are all around $100 million right now. Like, what am I going to do with $100 million? I've got big things to do and I need a lot of money to do it. So, but if we don't know what we do with it, how is it ever going to come to us? And, you know, my brother is so funny because we're so different. He says to me the other night, I said to him, what would you do with $10 million? And he goes, well, I'm not like you. I don't need $50 million like you. And I'm like, there's the problem right there. He said, I don't need $50 million. I don't need $50 million either. But the world needs me to do my thing, right? I'm going to start a big animal rescue foundation. Just got it approved yesterday, actually. Right, by the Australian Tax Office. I was on the phone to them yesterday, but this awesome lady, I was so lucky. She's an animal lover, and but it's all approved. And you know, so I need $10 million just to buy the size of the property that I want to start it, and then I need the income to keep funding it. Like it's a big thing. Like I don't need it, but I need it for them. And what if we all walk through life? First of all, we got to get our head above water, right? Because it's hard to dream when our head's not above water. So the first conversation is whoever we're talking, it's just getting to know them. Like, where are they at? What do they want to change about their health? What do they want to change about? Is their head above water financially? Or even if it is, like, what's next? Sometimes we look at people and think, oh, they earn lots of money, but are they happy? What do they want to do? What do you dream of? What do you want to change? Like, I love the question. I love asking people, what difference do you want to make in the world? It's just such a cool question to ask people. And until we tap people into, that's how we create a movement. Like people say, you know, Isagenix is like any business, right? Goes in waves. And if we want to create a movement again where Isagenix just explodes, we all at the same time have to be dreaming big and thinking big. And it has to be, yeah, we have to set our own goals, but it has to be ultimately not about us. It has to be about something bigger than us. So if you had all the money and all the time in the world, you got to know, and I'll end the call with this. You've got to know if time and money were no object, if you had 40 hours a week free time and you had no limit to the money, how would you spend your days? And what difference would you make in the world? If you don't get clear on that, getting to 100K is going to feel like such a struggle the whole way. Because you are not going to drag your butt out of bed to do the things that don't feel like that much fun for 100K a year. But can you drag your butt out of bed to do the things that feel like not so much fun to start an animal rescue sanctuary, or, you know, actually create whatever the thing is. You got to know yourself well enough to know, what do you stand for? What do you stand against? What makes you so angry you can't bear to see it happening in the world? This is, you know, they say women in the Western world are going to change the world. It's true. We can't sit around waiting. And I love men, you know, I have a husband, absolutely adore him, wouldn't know what to do without him. But it's us who's going to change the world, and we have to go first. We have to step out of our cave. We have to step into our greatness so that other women go, you know what, it's possible. And Janine, when you say like, you're not special like me, like, you just need to hang around me a bit more, because I'm not that special. I'm just not. I'm just, you all are as equally as special as me. And we all have gifts inside us. We just got to get rid of all the stories that we chose to hang on to and realize they're not actually, they're only serving us to stay in the cave. They're not serving us for any other purpose. And when we're ready to shed that, then you can step into the most beautiful, glowing, abundant version of yourself. And that's when you make the most impact in the world. And you got to keep staying in these spaces to be reminded of that. Because life does, it kicks at us. Life's tough. And if you go back into the cave where everyone's like, nyeh, 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 it's really hard. So you got to keep plugging back in. And that will be your greatest challenge, is like, who's going to be still here in a year on this call? And so many people, I have 13 years I've been here now. It's like, I wish I had a book. Where are they now? You know, like, they would be so thick because they just don't keep plugging in. But imagine if you just kept plugging in on the day you don't feel like it, just show up, because you never know what you're going to get.
Oh, wow. Jen, thank you so much. What a beautiful way to end this. And yeah, wow, 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 wow. Guys, just unmute. It doesn't matter if it sounds crazy, and give Jen all the love and the thanks, and for what you've just experienced in the last hour. You are an amazing woman, and you just inspire so many others. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're all so welcome.
Thank you, Jen. That was
Thank you so
incredible.
much.
Thank you.
Jen, you leave me
Okay.
speechless every time.
I know.
I know you say you're not different to any of us or not special, but you have unique, unbelievably awesome traits that you just share so easily and with such grace. So really, really appreciate that.
Thanks, Raquel.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So this is the fourth exposure to Jen for me. It's different every time. It's more in depth every time. It's just beautiful, that peace and flow and magnetism, and I just want more. Raquel, thank you also for putting all those bits into the chat. That was very helpful with note taking as we were going. But yeah, Heather, awesome. Thank you for organising. Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you.
I can't wait to see the animal
And
sanctuary.
know that you can go to the top little dots in the chat, guys, and save it. Save chat. It will save to your computer. So the top 3 dots on the right hand side. Save chat.
Yeah,
and I will
just
record
adored.
this is.
Sorry, I just want to say I just absolutely adored hearing you shine, do your thing, and my gosh, my brain was just resonating with so much. I love how you normalize the power of the unconscious mind, because I've studied this so much, and what you're saying, it's just like you're just making it known in mainstream, because some people find that a little bit woo-woo, right? What the underlying thoughts that make us think. But I heard this analogy once about it being like an iceberg, and the tip of the iceberg, what we see is the conscious mind, but what the iceberg really is all those thoughts, or everything underneath the surface is what makes us who we are, and that's what drives everything in our life. And so I just love the way that you explain. I love the elephant analogy so much. And so guys, this stuff is changing your neural pathways, your belief systems every time you hear it. because it's like when you marinate your brain with this information and around surrounding influences, that's what changes you. And it has a ripple effect out in your world, in your family, if you're a parent, with your relationships. I just think it's so, so inspiring. And it's just a journey that we're all on. And you don't realize, like, as you grow, you don't realize, oh my gosh, I've reached a new kind of level of possibility for me. And like what Heather was saying, like, she's at another thing where she's, every new level, there's something else. And we're like peeling back all the layers to become who we meant to be. So anyway, I would loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It was amazing.
Thank you, Emma. And I was just going to say that the recording, as always, will be in that group of recordings in the YouTube. And I'm going to be listening to this again. So for all of you, that's another way that you can continue to grow yourselves. Yeah, I've just loved every minute. And Jen, you are an absolute continuous learner. When you were doing the analogy about sales, I thought, yeah, I remember you telling me that you read every freaking book there is on sales so you could understand it and pick the bits out of it that you could really learn from and that would resonate with you. So another thing about you is that you do the do. You don't ever say anything that you don't do. So we have to call it quits. Thank you guys so much for all being on here, for all giving. I felt like I was actually getting sucked into the computer. I'm like, breathe, Heather, breathe. Just beautiful. Thank you guys. We will see you all really soon. See you in the chat. Thank you, Jen. I'll talk to you soon. Love you
You're
lots.
welcome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Love
Jen.
you all. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.